consistently attract soulmate clients, begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalyn Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spots that activate your soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize. Hello, my loves. Welcome. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. And if this is your first time here, welcome. So happy that this podcast found you. I am so excited about this episode where we are going to jam on those, we are really going to jam on for those of you who have been thinking about becoming a certified life coach, what the benefits are, and specifically for those of you who don't know yet, I am a trainer and facilitator of Flourishing Life Coaching Certification with my business partners, Flourishing Life Coaching. I'm also an investor. You put your money in where you believe in this company, and I am very excited. I know that lots of you have been reaching out and asking about being a certified life coach, and you have more questions about flourishing life coaching specifically. And so I thought I'd dedicate this episode for that so that you can tune in even more. Stay tuned. Even in the show notes, we do have a free mini course where we walk you through in more detail about the flourishing framework. So be sure to check that out in the show notes or the link in my bio on Instagram at Bold Sexy Warrior. And Facebook, you can connect with me there at Rosalyn Fung Coaching, Bold Sexy Warrior. So let me ask you, what does it take to be a life coach? And if you've ever thought about being really like people approach you a lot, maybe even as a parent, you never maybe considered being a life coach or a hairstylist, but people come up and talk to you about problems, or like even as a parent, you want more confidence. If you were like, okay, there's something here for me, right? So really, this episode is for you to expand your mind and open it more. And I'm going to also share with you how Flourishing Life Coaching Certification stands out from other life coaching programs. And I'm so happy to have my guest star, my soul sister, my colleague of Flourishing Life Coaching, Miss Connie Jakab. Connie in the house.
Hey.
Okay, you guys, if Brene Brown and Twitch had a baby, you would get this lady right here. I'm so happy you're here with us, Connie. Let me tell you, before I have you just come and share a little bit about your story, I want to let people know a little bit more about your background first. So, Connie is the Director of Community for the global movement Flourishing Life Coaching, and is also the Senior Manager of Wellness Innovate, which is our corporation name, where she is certifying coaches globally in the first evidence-based coaching model. She is the author of Bring Them Closer and 2 other books. Connie is passionate about rebelling against status quo, living, and encouraging others to branch out. Can you see why we get along well? She also is the founder of National Hope Movement, which is all about fighting against mental health in Canada. She is a sought out speaker for her raw honesty and humor. Oh my gosh, you guys, you gotta go check out Connie and her YouTube videos. She is such an incredible speaker. You'll hear her here and you won't get enough of her. I know that. Connie drives her passion outward into the arms of those wanting something more radical and meaningful in life. And she lives with her husband and two boys. She's also a boy mom like myself in Calgary, Alberta, and which actually was where I was born. So many beautiful synchronicities between Connie and I. And actually, when we met, I was creeping on her Instagram account, and I saw that she was wearing the same shirt I have in my branding photos, which says, "You are not for everybody." And I was like, yes, welcome, Connie.
Oh, it's so awesome to be here. It's always great to spend time with you and talk with you.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited for this episode because we have been, let's admit it, busting our asses off to really get flourishing off the ground, and it's been in such a beautiful way. Like, we have been having fun while also working hard at really letting people know about flourishing life
Yeah.
coaching and all the amazing programs. Like, you guys, life coaching certification is only one of the programs we offer. There are tons more, which we're not going to be able to get into today because we want to go deeper into the program of getting certified as a life coach. But just as a general, if you ever thought about becoming an author, a speaker, an influencer, learning how to attract your clients, build your tribe, grow your business in a really beautiful, powerful way, and you are here to serve and support and contribute, have that impact you deeply desire, and live a life of true freedom, this is definitely a place to be where you will feel like you belong.
Hmm.
So, yeah, you want to add anything to that?
I love what you said about a place where you feel you belong, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
places, and there's so many coaching certifications out there. Everybody's got their fingers in that market. But one of the things that I really love about what we do is we bring people into the circle. We bring people into community, and we really believe that your your acceleration happens with others, and we celebrate one another. Like, for example, Roz, yesterday you've been nominated for an amazing award, and you jumped in our tribe chat and said, "Hey guys, do you think you could vote for me?" And I was so
Mm-hmm.
full of joy when I watched everybody just say, "Yep, you got it. I'm in there. We got you, Roz. We're cheering for you. It's done." And I'm watching the support, and I'm thinking, what would happen if people out there listening to this podcast, out there in the world, slugging away on their own, actually had a community of people who celebrated them? How much further could they go, and faster?
Oh, 1,000%. Yes. And I was so amazed too. So, just for you listeners, I've been nominated for the Impacts Award, which is a little bit of a big deal from Business from the Heart. And this award is for a small business with at least two members or employees on their team, and it's a business that is recognized for being highly active in the community and truly making a difference. Philanthropy, diversity, and social responsibility are integral to the business practice, and I was nominated for this. I do not take this lightly, and it means the world to me. In fact, if you follow me on social media, Instagram, and Rosalyn Fung, Bold Sexy Warrior, you will see my why behind all of this, and which I put 10% of my profits towards. Um, it's deep for me, and I mean, even coming back to flourishing life coaching, we have a huge soul mission. We're on a mission to help touch lives and create leaders and raise people who are, I would say, we're all leaders in our own rights, whether it's in the home or in business, right? And we're here to support people, individuals, communities to grow. Like, we're already global. We're
Yeah,
already
already.
global. And we're not even a year old. Like, how, like, literally, this company started in January, officially.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're global. And
Yeah.
founder, my good friend, Abe Brown, who you guys would have heard, he was on my podcast earlier. It was, oh my gosh, like, I'm like, how long ago was that? That was probably sometime last year in the summer. So I can tag that episode here as well. But he is the founder of Flourishing Life Coaching, Wellness Innovate. And this man and I have known each other for a long time, and everything he touches turns to gold because he is such a good person. He's got deep values, he's got integrity, he's got everything, and he practices what he preaches with leadership. He's an influencer. I mean, having this relationship, and this is why you guys hear me say relationships are everything. He's taken his time. We've developed a really good friendship over the years. He's known me since I was a psychologist. So that's like a good at least 6-7 year relationship right there, maybe even longer actually. So it's so beautiful to see because I knew someday I'm gonna somehow work with him. I didn't know how, but I just knew. And when this opportunity was presented, it was like a no-brainer for me. And then I met you, Connie.
I know.
So I hope that as you're tuning in, thinking about, hey, maybe you have been thinking about life coaching, and why would you choose Flourishing Life Coaching? What? And let us be clear. A lot of people take this Flourishing Life Coaching certification, even if they don't want to be quote unquote life coaches, but they are perhaps leading teams. Like one of my classmates that I went through this certification with, so because if I'm going to be facilitator and certify people, I got to be going through it myself, right? He works for I believe it was like an oil and gas company or a tech company. I can't quite remember, but it's definitely not in the service industry field. And it was agriculture. That's what it was. This is Anna's husband. And he leads teams. And so he was just blown away with all the new skills that, and this is a leader, and he just was able to take his level of leadership back to his occupation. And that's amazing. So that's what I love about number one, this certification is it is a 2-day intensive with online pre-work and then post modules as well. But the 2-day intensive is really where you get all the immersive. So it's for people who are just like, I really want something deep. I want something meaningful. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. Though and the beautiful thing is there's more afterwards too. Shall you choose to immerse deeper into the coaching side and having that support and growing your business? Absolutely, right? But this is a beautiful option for corporate, for government workers, for parents, to really, even like I mentioned, hairstylists, right? People who have to deal with people. And I think that's all of us. This is a beautiful, powerful, potent program, certification to support you in leveling up as a leader, no matter what your role is in the home and in your career.
Yeah. 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 I couldn't agree more with that, Roz. It's so important right now, moving into where we're at in our world in this particular time in history where we were chosen to be put on earth in this time of COVID. And as much as COVID has wreaked havoc on people and it's been devastating in many ways, it's also opened up new opportunities for us to become better humans. We now have this opportunity to evolve into more emotionally intelligent, socially intelligent, empathetic, skills that we've needed for a long time that we've just kind of been able to ignore. People who come to work and just their lives are in ruins, and we've never known how to work with them. You know, you're at the coffee pot and someone says, "How are you doing, Fred?" And Fred goes, "Oh, I'm feeling suicidal today." And we just are like, we freeze. And it's like, do you want cream or sugar with that? Like, we just don't know what to say. And I think of parents whose children are struggling with anxiety and depression, like my son. And I've been working in mental health and resilience for 20 years, and I didn't even know how to help him. And I think of all the parents that don't have the book smarts that I had, and how they need these skills so that their kids can have a fighting chance in our new world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for those of you who are really like myself into neuroscience, into research when it comes to human behavior and psychology, you're gonna really love the Flourishing Life Coaching Certification because it is very much based on evidence and research around resiliency, neuroscience, and psychology. And in fact, we're going to go a little bit deeper into the 10 core factors for flourishing when we come back from commercial.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
My loves, you know you're here as a soul-led leader to transform this world through the sharing of your passions and gifts. You are here to be in your warrior of light and align your business with your highest self. I'm Rosalyn Fung of the show Activate Your Soulgasmic Business. Let's elevate your business to the next expansive level. I invite you to flow into a business soul alignment discovery call with me at rosalynfung.com. That's ROSALYN, fun as in have some fun, FUNG, and let's see how I can best hold space for you to align your highest self, magnetize your dream clients, and monetize on your soul mission. I can't wait to connect.
COVID-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
Do you feel like your emotions are all over the place? That's normal during this abnormal time. There are a number of ways to cope. Maintain a healthy routine, get enough sleep, eat nutritious food, and exercise at least 30 minutes each day. Schedule some time to talk with a friend or family member. And remember, you can always take a few deep breaths to feel more centered.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Okay, welcome back, my loves. So we're going to dive in a little bit deeper about the 10 core components, which is very much based on the science of flourishing. I think it would be really good, Connie, for you to help the audience. First of all, let's define flourishing.
Yeah, so flourishing, I love this concept. I mean, at first when I heard the word, I thought that sounds kind of, flowery. And in my mental health
Totally.
work, it's like, no, like we need to help people be resilient. But I love flourishing because the actual concept is going to a state of thriving. And that actually moves us past resilience. Because you can be resilient, you could come through hell and back and be an overcomer, but you could be miserable. A lot of people who are resilient, they're not doing well. They're barely standing. And so this is, how do we move people to go past resilience to now taking those things that sought to destroy their lives, and this actually is what is building their life, and now they're thriving.
Yes, absolutely. And it is, let's give Dr. Wayne Hammond, who is a psychologist, total props for this because he is the brain, the researcher behind all of what our certification model is about. Do you want to share a little bit about Dr. Wayne Hammond in terms of like how many years he's been doing this research and his incredible power?
Yeah. Oh, he is just the most amazing man. I can't even tell you how many years it's been. It's probably been 30. He has been in this resilience game for a long time. And what I love the most about him is that he's always been about creating strengths-based resilience. Starting with where you're strong. And he has so much research around it. And he posted actually on his LinkedIn this little meme that says, instead of praising people for being resilient, change the systems that are making them vulnerable. And if that's a why, that's a why for this. This is going to change the systems that keep people from even being resilient, but also moving forward in their lives.
Oh, so powerful, so powerful. And he also created, this is a man that went to many universities globally and talks about his research on strength-based resiliency. He has actually created an assessment to help people in the workplace as well as entrepreneurs on rating themselves and understanding where you stand when it comes to resiliency in 10 areas of your life, which we won't be able to go into detail over. That's where the certification program will come in, but we will go over those 10 areas today here. And what our CEO and founder, Abe Brown, has done was take all of Dr. Wayne Hammond's research, and together they really created a coaching model based on this. And this is the first ever coaching model that is evidence-based like this, that is so specific.
Mm-hmm.
And even doing the assessment, because sorry, go ahead, love.
Oh, I was just going to say, the nice thing about bringing a coaching model to an evidence-based model is that there are so many people out there. I think of psychologists, I think of counselors, I think of coaches who are already practicing. They're like, I've got my certification. I'm doing my thing. And when I think about all of those people, I've always wondered, and I know this is something that Abe that's really on his heart too, is how do we help psychologists take all that theory and walk someone through their issue? Because I don't know about you, Roz, but I've been in so many counselors' offices, psychologists, psychiatrists, trying to help my son, and they often hit a wall with him because he doesn't just need their knowledge. He needs to be coached. He needs to know what are the steps, and that's where they fall short every time. They don't know how to walk them home. They don't know how to get them there. And same thing with coaches. A lot of coaches are out there doing their thing, doing great work, I'm a fan of psychologists, psychiatrists. I'm a fan. I just want to make sure everybody knows I'm a big fan, and I'm a big fan of coaches. But oftentimes coaches are out there with the opposite problem. They have frameworks, but maybe it just kind of came to them on their own, and there's no real foundation for them. There's no evidence-based accountability that's rooted in science. And so I feel like on both ends of the spectrum, both for mental health professionals and coaches, this is the perfect marriage.
Oh, like the neuroscience psychology geek in me is just like, this is why I love the certified Flourishing Life Coaching model. It's powerful because it brings I will say it brings the beautiful spirituality, the human side of things with the research. And it is like no other. So let's start with always when you're learning about this model, the certified flourishing life coaching model, you will learn that always, and you guys hear me say this is why it's so aligned for me, relationship is everything. You put the relationship, the coaching client relationship first. You put the humanness first, right? And I know that probably sounds like common sense to many of the people listening, because you guys are my people. But sometimes we forget that. And we get so caught up in the, ooh, I have to do this. Ooh, I have to do that. Ooh, I have to perform better. And then you lose sight of the relationship. And I've been there too. So, because you want to do really, you want to help your clients. You want to be in service. But sometimes we just forget that our beingness and being present in the relationship is the most important. And so we do teach you how to be an active listener, how to listen and tune in. You know, there's a real difference between hearing and listening.
Yes. And that is probably one of the most important, significant aspects of every human relationship. Wouldn't you say, Roz? That's just being a good human.
But not everyone has that skill. We all can see that.
It's so true. Yeah, even in myself, I noticed for many years, a lot of the reasons why my son struggled actually was because I didn't know how to listen and see him where he was at. I had expectations. I had ideas of what I wanted him to be like, and I had to let it go and actually really listen to see where he was coming from. And I think about all the coaching relationships that we have and what we desire for our clients. It's like if they could just get this. But behavior is communication. And when people procrastinate and when they don't reach their goals, that behavior is speaking to something much deeper that we get a chance to listen to. And it's often not in words. It's in behaviors and patterns that we start to notice.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought up your relationship with your child, because I feel like even for myself, that's probably the biggest area where I struggle with sometimes, because you just want your child to do something. And it's like, you know, they're not listening, but it's also because I'm not listening. So like acknowledging and holding space and seeing what really needs, how I need to really show up in that moment. There's that book, How to Listen So Kids Will Talk, and How to Talk So Kids Will Listen. I love that book, and it's like that's what really I feel like our certification program is really about, is tuning in deeper to even listening is what's not being said. It's that felt sense. And I think that's what makes a difference between a mentor, a coach, a therapist that goes from good to outstanding, is that you're hearing what's not really being said, because the presenting issue is not often what the client says. It's what they don't know and what they can't see. And they're not saying, but you can see it because you're listening. You're using your intuition.
Yeah.
And so, So let's go over, again, we're not going to go over in details, but I'm going to name the 10 core competency factors for flourishing based on science, based on Dr. Wayne Hammond's work and research in the psychology world on strength-based resiliency. And Connie, whatever you feel into, we'll just jam on that one. So let me list them all first. Okay, so the first one is personal empowerment. The second is personal awareness and management. The third is emotional and social intelligence. The fourth is leadership and courage. The fifth is being innovative. The sixth is resilience. This is about having growth mindset. The seventh is motivated. You are a self-directed learner. The eighth is moral directedness, meaning integrity. The ninth is interpersonal. This is having collaborative team player skills. And the 10th is effective problem solving. This is about being accountable. And if you guys have been following me for a long time or for a while or even in a short while, you know that personal accountability, radical personal accountability, and radical spiritual accountability is at the core of my values, at the core of everything I be, do, and have. And so these are the 10 core competencies of Flourishing Life Coaching Certification. So Connie, is there one you want to jam a little bit on that you're feeling like the listeners would really, as you're tuning in, this would be helpful for them to just hear?
Well, I always lean towards personal empowerment and courage, like leadership and courage. And it's in my own life, they really go together. I
Yes.
feel like I'm always trying to empower myself. I'm sure many listeners are saying, yep, that's me. I mean, that's why they're listening. That's why they're attracted to you, Roz, and your podcast, because you're all about personal empowerment. It's interesting how every morning I sit on my couch and I allow myself to be led. I need to lead myself first before I step into my work in the day as a coach, as a facilitator, as a mom, as a wife. I need to empower myself. And I've been on a bit of a journey with renewing a lot of my mindset, breaking down toxic thoughts and reconstructing them into empowerment thoughts. And as somebody who has lived with empowerment as a personal value for so many years, I have never been more aware of how important this is as the number one core competency that's listed. This is where it begins. Do you lead yourself? Which, leads me into that number 4. We are self-led. And we talked about that in our staff meeting this week. And I was so moved because this is it. Before I can lead anyone else, before I can manage the anxiety in my son, I have to manage the anxiety in me. Before I can do anything, I lead myself and take responsibility, and I take every thought captive. And I have, no one's holding my hand. I have to do this on my own and to have courage to do that. And so those are my favorites.
And yes, it's there's that personal accountability to empower ourselves. That life is, by the way, let me just make it clear. Accountability is life is happening for me and through me. And the opposite of accountability is victim, that life is happening to me. Life does not happen to us, okay? We always are co-creating with life. We always have a way in how we can choose to show up to influence the outcomes of our relationships, of our circumstances. We have that power. You are not disempowered. It's about choosing to be empowered. And it starts with taking personal accountability. And then the beautiful thing about this is being part of community, which very much Flourishing Life Coaching has a powerful community. I mean, that was just the beautiful example you shared earlier in our episode about how people supported me with the nominations and voting. But honestly, it goes beyond that. There are friendships created. Again, these people live globally, so we have incredible live group calls that are all about being motivated, staying on track, being activated into the next level versions of ourselves. I know when I'm on the group coaching calls and even our facilitator calls, it literally, and for me, the calls are at 6 a.m. My time. It used to be 7, but now that I moved time zones. And I am totally fine with that. It gets me, I love waking up early. I wake up anyways at 6 a.m. to work out. So it just gets me fired up and inspired to be part of a tribe of like-minded leaders, high-level performance leaders who also are not afraid to be vulnerable, who are not afraid to share what's going on, and then be able to move through some of that. It's beautiful what happens. Even in our team meetings, Connie, like yesterday, I was like bawling my eyes out when you were sharing, and because it just touched my heart so much. And it's such a safe space. This is what we create, is that safe space for others to truly show up as themselves, authentically, unapologetically. And that's my mission. That's my mission. And this aligns so much more with my mission, with everything Flourishing Life Coaching stands for.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's beautiful being around people who are all living to the best of their ability these 10 competencies, like yourself. Like, Roz, you make me better. When I'm feeling a day where I'm like, I don't feel brave, I don't feel empowered today, I don't feel like I'm a leader, you just get around the right people and it's like a fire is lit under you. Whereas when you're surrounded by people who are constantly naysaying about your dreams and about your skills, and people are constantly trying to bring you down, and it's such a harder fight to rise up and be the person that you're meant to be and that that you actually are.
And research does prove that even if you are making all this progress, environment always wins. So if you're surrounded by people who are sayers, who aren't where you want to be, or who aren't on the same path, it's time to change your circle. And I know it's easier said than done, and it can be scary because that means you lose people along the way of ascending and elevating yourself. And trust me, you won't look back, because those people may start being inspired by you, or they may fall away. Everyone's on their own soul journey. But what's really important is that you need to know that you didn't come here on this earth to live a mediocre life. God didn't put you on here for that. This is really about standing in your power and taking that radical personal accountability and really getting clear about your mission. I mean, if people are approaching you and telling you things that, even strangers, right? I know that a lot of you listening, you have strangers that approach you and tell you like their life story, and you're like, what the heck? But it's because they're feeling something from you, and that could be a huge possible opening for you to really look into that. So we're going to go into commercial now, and when we come back, Connie and I are going to jam a little bit more about bravery and boldness and showing up.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. a philanthropic organisation. Their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
If I could be you,
and you could be me for just 1 hour,
if you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind,
walk a mile in my shoes,
walk a mile in my shoes,
walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Okay, welcome back, loves. So one thing I didn't go deep into is that Connie is known for being the bravery and belonging coach. Like I said, she is like Brene Brown mixed with Twitch. She's like the products of that. So also what I didn't mention is Connie used to be a pastor. And you were so badass that you decided to move into becoming a hip hop instructor and make a movement with the world in being brave and courageous. I love that so much about you, Connie.
Yeah, bravery means so much to me. And belonging. I've actually been studying belonging for over 20 years. And studying it, reading about it, but also actually seeing it in action. What creates somebody to feel like they belong? And when people belong, they become resilient. They become the person that they were meant to be. They're more likely to rise up to their purpose and the leader that they are. And I used to think that belonging was created by the collective. You know, you show up to work and now you're just like, okay, guys, you make me feel like I belong here. What are you going to do to make me feel I belong? That's what I used to think. Or, you know, you show up to a group, you show up to our Flourishing Tribe. Now, what are you going to do to make me feel like I belong? But I don't believe that anymore. Because the problem with that is that when we show up and expect others to create our belonging, we're basically walking into a room saying, you define me. You get to tell me who I am. And we'll take on labels, we'll take on limiting beliefs. This is where race and struggles with race can really rise up. You know, you define me, you make me feel less than. And now I've got like all kinds of systemic problems. It's profound what happens when we show up that way. Whereas now I believe that our belonging is our own spiritual journey first. And when we dive deep into our own belonging, we show up different. I'm not showing up to anyone expecting them to define me. I have defined myself. And I put my mark on the ground. And then like you and I know, Roz, we're not for everybody. That's okay.
That's right.
We know our place. We know who we serve. And we have a lot of joy in that.
And this I really feel like this is us jamming on the leadership courage pillar of the 10 pillars there. And it's just so deeply important. I know that people are attracted to both of us, Connie. We really are like so similar because we feel the fear and do it anyway. We show up anyway because we are so deeply connected. We are more connected, and you can be too. So if you're really struggling with holding yourself back, playing bigger, listen up. This is really about feeling the fear, and doing anyway. And when I say that, it means being more connected and committed to being in service, to showing up and shining and sharing your gifts with the world, because that's why you were placed here on this earth. People judge us all the time. You're going to be judged, including, I always say, don't judge yourself. If you work with me, you will hear me say in our meditations, in my activations, even in me holding space for you in a deep, profound way, I'll say, notice that without judgment. And judgment, you will hear me say, check in with yourself. And often we ask people, how are you? I'm good. Well, no, good and bad are judgments. So let's check in. How are you really? Like, what's the feelings? Because feelings are not judgments. And so this is really about you knowing that you can't control. People are going to judge you. Again, good or bad judgments, right? Those are all judgments. And you can't control that. Of course, we all fear the bad judgments. We can get like 99% positive reviews, and then the 1% all of a sudden, and that puts us back. But you know what? When you do your inner work, you know that about the concept of mirrors, that it's not really about you. Connie, I don't know about you, but I actually trigger people. I have people who hire me and then tell me later, you used to trigger me, or I hired you because you trigger the F out of me. And I'll be like, oh, okay, so that's cool. And I'm not offended, because I know that these people hired me because they recognize that that trigger is about themselves, that they see something in me that's triggering them, because, and this is often the answer I hear, is because you're showing up and you're doing things the way that I want to be doing. You're doing, you're putting yourself out there, and it's triggering me because I'm so scared. And so the jealousy, the what other ones? It's really like jealousy, and so it's beautiful when they see that truth, and it's like, oh, it's not really about Roz, because honestly, I don't even know them before they, like when they're triggered by me. And so what I'm sharing this for is because it's really important for you, my loves, to know that, again, this is when I also said, you're not polarizing people. You're probably not going bold enough. You're not showing up authentically enough. Okay, we're not here to please everybody. That's not our purpose. Okay. Yeah. And so you will polarize people. You're not for everybody, and you got to do you. You got to just keep showing up in service and in contribution, in sharing your gifts. And don't worry about the people who get triggered by you, because those people who freaking resonate with you are going to love you even harder, love your mission even more, because it resonates with them. You're showing up bravely, courageously, and you're creating a tribe, a movement where people feel like they belong.
Yeah. I just think that's so important for people to understand that, I've been told the same thing, Roz, and it's hard to not be like, wow, like you're just a little bit shocked, but at the same time, it's about the person. Like, again, behavior is communication. If someone triggers me, I often will say, instantly, I think you're right. The first thing I think is, oh my goodness, I'm actually jealous, because I want what they have. I want to do what they're doing. And they're succeeding and they're making it happen. And here I am sitting here trying to make it happen. Oftentimes in my own life, Roz, that's exactly, I think, what's going on. And so there's an opportunity for us to dive a little deeper, lead ourselves, and go, you know what? If you want what they have, go get it. What's stopping you? And where are those barriers? And start facing those barriers. The barriers look like giants, but smack down your giant. Take it down. What if it was possible to actually not be limited in that area? Why can't you get that too? There's an abundance, isn't there? Right? There's an abundance for everybody.
Yes, there's more than enough to go around. And so there's more than enough clients to go around. There's, there's so many people when you are like that lighthouse and you show up and you shine, your soul tribe, your soul friends, your soulmate clients are going to be able to see you. But if you're hiding, and that includes something called high level hiding. A lot of people can be showing up, but they're not sharing their truth. They're not sharing their vulnerability. They're not sharing, their struggles. And it's hard to relate to perfectionism. Being perfect, right? And so when people are showing up as quote unquote perfects, and what do? We can freaking alter those pictures on social media. We can airbrush. We can put whatever story we want. And people can tell because energy doesn't lie. Energy doesn't lie. And so I really invite you all to reflect on, where am I being triggered and why? Because that's where the medicine is. And if you're noticing you're hiding, I invite you, as scary as it may seem, to show up for yourself, show up for your purpose, and be that next level leader, whether it's in your home, in your workplace, in your community, in your business. So what I'm going to invite us to do in the next few minutes is to just really tune in. I'm just going to invite you to do that. So tune in to what triggers, or this conversation between Connie and I that you're tuning into, what's really standing out for you in the last 55 minutes. Just whatever's on your heart, just notice that. Don't have to make meaning about it, but just notice. And then breathe in. And then sigh out. Breathing in again. And sighing out. So I'm going to invite you to place your hand on your heart, one on your belly. And I'm going to read you one of my most favorite poems. And I am sure that many of you have heard of this before. It's the one by Marianne Williamson called Our Deepest Fear. And as I read this, I'm going to invite you to receive in ways that are deepening your courage, your boldness, your bravery, your leadership. So breathing in. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. So breathing all of that in and out. Morakira koratia norokua menakia morokuratia narakoratia nanaka. Breathing in and out. So I invite you, if you're feeling called, to come check out Flourishing Life Coaching. I have a free mini course where we walk you through the framework, and it's in the show notes of Apple iTunes and YouTube. As well, it's in the link in my bio at Instagram, Bold Sexy Warrior. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you so much for having me, Roz. This was so meaningful.
This was super powerful. I wasn't sure. I couldn't know if this if we dropped off because all of a sudden something has shifted. But I'm so glad you're still here.
I'm here.
Are there any last messages that you would like to leave the world with?
I would love to leave everyone with the mantra that I wake up to every day, which is, I am brave. I show up when it's hard. I love without walls. I forgive when it hurts. And I rise through the storm.
Beautiful. Breathing that in and out. So our hope is that if you have been considering becoming a certified life coach, that you do consider Flourishing Life Coaching. I am here for you. Please do follow Connie as well at Connie Jakab and Instagram. Again, everything will be in the show notes. Thank you, my loves, for tuning in. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you, Roz.